situations like these, they're going to double down even harder. You know, we see Huey, Dewey, Louie get into a tight spot there, say, no, you know what, it doesn't matter if there are 3 players playing Darkflight in this lobby. I do not care. I will contest you. I will beat you with this composition. And I just have to wonder how many players are looking at that saying, it's working for them. I wonder if I can pull it out for these last 2 games.
Well, into one of those last 2 games, we go the penultimate game of the Teamfight Tactics Oceania Regional Finals for Dragonlance Set 7 on board with Kade. After last game, I think, you know, Kade has a bit of work to do in rank 6 right now, 15 points. One of those players that can qualify for something like LCQ off of championship points within striking range of names like Angora, who's really just the one waiting on the sidelines waiting to see how these results kind of fall. Kade really needing just some more consistent placements after a slower start today.
And I mean, Kade is definitely playing very flexibly, but looking at this 3-unit choice that they've managed to get out there, this is a perfect Lagoon start. But Ducky, Lagoon has not been working out well for these players, but they're going to put in Mirage instead. It's Electric Overload for this game. Incredibly strong early game, and you know, maybe Kade has seen that Lagoon just hasn't been working out and is instead going to choose to go for a stronger early game play.
Maybe, and just get that consistent placement, but that has to be like bookended with the fact that Electric Overload has probably been the least popular Mirage of the weekend. It's been the weakest of the weekend. It just, no one's been really going for it. So that's like a, ooh. Hold on a minute. This makes things very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see them ending up picking up an electric, electric charge along with their Electric Overload. It really brings the spark towards this composition, and I mean, look at this, immediately slamming some 2-star units, getting everything down. I want to see a quick level up here. I want to see them put in a Skarner 2, and I want to see them win streak heavily with this now.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Ezreal reroll Guardians board from, you know, way back when with this kind of start, but Electric Overload plus Electro Charge is such a strong power spike early, and with obviously these augments now scaling later from stages 2 to 5, the Electro Charge is going to be able to keep pace with this lobby somewhat. And if you can get those 2 stars on the front line, the Guardian shields are going to come in clutch to ensure that these units stay alive longer, take more crits, do more Electro Charge damage. This could be a very good spot to Kade to play from, and basically the one situation where Electric Overload has been favored by players as a Mirage.
Look at this electric damage. It melts so through boards. It's so good in the early game. Now, I mean, we haven't really mentioned it, but there is a very specific type of composition that can use Electric Overload, and it's more of a reroll style based not around something like the Yone, something like the Nunu, but instead around a Leona 3, this Guardian strategy, and just makes use of such an incredibly tanky Leona that every single time it gets shocked, it's dealing out, you know, things upwards of 900 damage.
We'll have to wait and see where Kade goes with that board, but a very, I guess, direct start and a good idea of where they're going here from stage 2 over onto Fred's board, taking the Cybernetic Uplink 3, getting the extra mana regen. What do you think of this, Frosty?
We haven't really seen AP boards have too much success here. You know, Cybernetic Uplink 3 is generally all around a pretty half-decent augment to end up picking up. It's just, again, Lagoon hasn't been working out too great, but, you know, maybe in a Prismatic lobby, it may just be that Rengar just isn't the go-to option for a lot of these players, so maybe it ends up working out a little bit better.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, the Cybernetic Uplink, you know, for the Soam is like the big upgrade here for this Lagoon board, and getting it in, I guess, early and having this mana generation on these Lagoons does get, you know, the Seashell proccing earlier. Like, it's a small, tiny thing, but if you can get 2 or 3 extra Seashell procs a combat throughout a stage, you know, that ends up being 15 across, and you're slowly ramping that up and getting those upgrades a little bit earlier. Whether it can hold up in this lobby remains to be seen. That's the big question based off, I guess, like we said earlier, the number of Rengar players.
Oh, wow, such a close fight there. Fred unfortunately taking the L. Obo also doing something a little bit interesting. They're picking up Living Forge. So, you know, every single 10 rounds, they're going to get a free Ornn item. So the potential to go late with this and stack up a whole bunch of Ornn items, particularly scary.
I mean, got the Mana Zane first off that Living Forge. Again, relatively flexible, not necessarily something that he can choose out of that augment. but you know, you take what you're given, and the Ornn items are typically stronger than the regular ones, anyways. Um, Situationally, of course, because sometimes you get just something that is completely terrible for your board, and that is the nature of TFT. As we look at Huey's board, he's got the early Olaf in with the Celestial Blessing 3. That's a lot of healing to play for in the later stages of the game, and something that the Olaf doesn't really mind.
Oh no, absolutely. A Celestial Blessing 3 is one of the best late game augments. 35% healing is essentially a free Bloodthirster on something like this Olaf, and it means that you don't have to stack the Olaf with any defensive itemization. You can put pure damage on it and just allow it to do its thing. So in Huey's spot, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just try to go for something like the Olaf there. You've already got it down so early, you can make the most efficient use out of it. And, you know, you're taking these L's, so why not, right?
Yeah. Dino with Sword there, a potential pickup on the carousel for a board like that, you know, just to get the scale scorns in early enough. There is a Rengar with a bow that is making me deathly scared for this lobby, and it's picked up by Tamura. Tamura picked up the Guild Crown early on. I don't think we'll see the Rengar board come out from that position. Maybe more of a Xayah pivot from there, or a Danger pivot. Danger unlikely with the Mirage and the Contestion already. Has to be thrown out there as a potential, of course. I don't think we're going to be seeing the Stabby Tabby out from Tamura, but once we get a better grasp of their role, we can maybe make that assumption for ourselves.
Well, we've seen players. We've seen players that have gone from the most unlikely of spots, you know, positions where you thought there is no way that they are trying to go for Dark Flight. And then they will just turn it around and they will say, oh, look, I have found one Rengar. It is time to force Dark Flight now. So yeah, I think that, sure, you probably wouldn't go for it, but, I mean, Tamura's in a little bit of a questionable spot in the tournament right about now, so sometimes you just got to make a big push, right? And we've seen Dark Flight work.
Yeah. Getting word as well that Nomsy this game will be mage, as we're on board here with Aurora, so that could maybe dictate how these boards kind of shape up as well. We've seen a little bit of Nomsy play. Aurora's board with this Morellonomicon slammed with the Mage Cap slammed. I have a feeling this is going to be the Sown board coming out from them. Getting a few stacks early, the Kai'Sa can get the double cast off, again continuously tacking up that C-Cell, gets the first drop off there. 72 HP with 1 combat left to play in this stage though. Could be heading into Krugs at around, you know, the 62, 64 HP level, and that's, you know, quite a big chunk of damage taken in this first stage.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because prismatic lobbies end up just coming out of the gates really quickly. They mean that the game ends up going extraordinarily fast, and the Lagoon board without any really strong points ends up really struggling at, you know, forcing the game to, you know, stay at its pace there. It loves slow fights, but when, you know, you've got a player like Carter who's got Electro Charge 3 and they've got Electric Overload, it's... your board melts. There's nothing you can do about it. It means that you're not going to get the value off of Lagoon.
I do want to raise a point here. We're seeing a lot of early game reroll centric boards potentially coming out here, at least players positioning for them. If we get a second Prismatic here offered at 3-2, how does the game plan evolve? Do players double down on this, or do they start pumping out levels and really maximizing the double Prismatic early advantage?
I really think it depends on what they're trying to play, Ducky. You know, if you've got a player like Hardy here, I would not be surprised to see them push levels. I think that that would definitely benefit them more than trying to stay and reroll, because reroll in triple prismatic lobbies just falls off so quickly. Everyone is just so powerful. Look at this, though. A Nunu and Willem coming into shop here. And honestly, Kade might just go for it. This would be a really insane option, but it may bite them in the backside if it is all triple prismatic.
I mean, it is something worth picking up, because you can't really make these decisions in the back of your mind right now at this point in the game, where it's like, oh yeah, I have the foresight. Future Sight has told me this. Like, you know, it's not like that. You just have to play what's given you. A nice Leona out of there. If they... Ooh. Oh my days!
Lord.
What? There is no shot he just got a Daedra out of that orb.
Wow, that is... that's kind of crazy. That is... Oh, man, but the craziest thing is, wow, he actually ends up buying the Nunu there. He's got a roll, so he's actually going for the Leona 3. Wow, this is such a bold strategy from Kade here.
He's also 6 out of 9
Yones as well, and ends up not buying them up there, as instead going to prioritize the Leona odds more than anything else. Is one off of Nasus here as well, but this is the danger zone now. You're at 10 gold, and is just going to roll it down. Does not find any more Leonas.
I don't think it's the end of the world for Kade here, because obviously rolling down here is a little bit detrimental. At least has the danger security here at level 5, right? So can afford to just put that in, get the Mirage scaling up off the back of that. Doesn't have to worry too much yet. Obviously things could change. We've still got 1 augment to go. Well, 2 augments to go, but 1 key augment to go. Does sell and roll again, finds a Leona. Bit lucky.
Just a little bit. You know, I like to just say that this is officially the stop hitting yourself composition Kade is playing right now, because Percy is up to level 6. Kade with a board full of just, you know, upgraded units says stop hitting yourself.
Let's go!
Wow! Double prismatic to start off here, and this is... Oh, this is a little bit risky. It ends up re-rolling Cursed Crown High Roller. Wow, there is some potential options here. Cursed Crown isn't even... Like, it is an actual option.
He takes
Cursed Crown. Wow. This is going to be some high-paced gameplay.
And that's 6 Mirage in, because, yeah, he gets a level up to level 5. The Nunu, and this is... Ooh. This lobby is getting very good. If your friends are not watching right now, tell them to tune in to this final 2 games here of the Oceanic Regional Finals, because we are on for a barn burner right now. 2 Prismatics to start off this lobby. Kade's just sending it with the Cursed Crown. I'm pretty sure it's the first one of the weekend as well. And wow, this is just such amazing gameplay to be watching, and I'm sure everyone else is hitting some pretty amazing augments too. I can't wait to see what the rest of the boards look like. Up against Fred here. Fred's probably going, what am I facing right now? Look at all this damage. The electric overload is just chunking through it. This Lagoon board can't do anything to fight back.
What board? Fred's got no board. Kade's absolutely deleted it there. They just can't get through the maximum health of these Guardians. Kade's in such a good spot going into the game here. And, you know, as soon as you hit this Leona 3, another Guardian spot opens up. So it just gets better from here. Ends up just pretty much essentially gunning it. Finds the Leona 3 as well. Wow, Kade is in such a good spot going into this. They've got tempo throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, and you say that. It's literally the rest of the game. The danger out of the orb. The Leona's now fully stacked up. The Nasus is also hit on the way down. It's just... They don't really need to do much else from here. They can just kind of wait and see what the game serves up to them. Like, this is just such a strong spot from Kade, as evidenced by the fact they're the only win-streaking player left in this lobby, 100 HP. Up against Obo here, he's got the Band of Thieves 2 to get the double TG out. And he's also got that Living Forge to play around with. That's going to be a lot of items Obo is juggling later on in this game.
The crazy thing as well is that Kade being last pick on Carousel actually benefits them, Ducky, because what does Kade want to hit here? Kade wants to hit defensive itemization. Kade wants to hit Warmogs right now, and what is going to be one of the least prioritized items? Warmogs, belts, all these defensive items that you could get off of it. It's just going, everything is lining up for Kade.
And this is a game Kade needs to play well, but look, we've basically spoken about Kade for a stage and a half. There's 7 other players in this lobby. You can take a look around as we're on board with Huey, Dewey, Louie now sitting at this spot they have found themselves many times. Frosty at the bottom of the lobby, 56 HP. Got the Astrals in for a little bit of econ. Picks up above the Carousel Hell. We'll need to have a look here. And look, guys, in chat, type ! egg in chat to enter a giveaway. If you wanted to get in for some luck like these lucky gamers right now, all of these prismatics flying around, you too could get a little bit lucky with whatever egg you get offered from this giveaway. So please enter in the giveaway ! egg. As we now take a deeper look at Huey, Dewey, Louie's board. Got the Olaf 2 online. Nice edge as well. Nice edge CB. These are very flexible augments to be playing around for this game.
Yeah, but look, there's an Olaf 2 on the board there as well, so it looks like Huey has got a clear game plan going. And chat, I hear that if we get a triple prismatic game, that egg could actually end up being the golden egg. So just be on the lookout there as well. Had to make that pun here. It's the last cast that I'm going to get in today, so I got to make sure that I get all of them out of my system. as soon as possible.
Look, it wouldn't be a cast with you without as many puns in as few words as possible. We have a look over here at Obo. Like, yeah, we've mentioned it before, the double TG Legion Forge. I'm very interested to see, will Huey just commit to this Olaf angle, or is there a potential to look for maybe a Siphon with these Knife's Edge CB kind of playstyle here? Because I feel like in a triple prismatic lobby, this share use Siphon is going to hold up a lot better compared to a reroll Olaf.
There is definitely the possibility. You can see Huey's already considering with the double jacks on bench, and they have got the potential to end up switching into it. It really depends on the level 7 roll down, Ducky. You know, if you don't end up finding any siphons, any Shiryus there, you've already got such a strong angle that you can just potentially stick to it. If your roll down includes quite a few Olafs, you're probably going to end up picking them up anyway. We're going to move over to Colourful here, who ended up picking up those lucky gloves, and this is looking to be more of that Siphon Shiryu board that we're used to. They've already got the CB3 as well. It's coming up against the board of Kade here.
Take a little bit of stock of how Kade's board's progressed since we last saw, and absolutely nothing has changed.
Doesn't need to.
Doesn't need to, yeah.
Doesn't need to.
The Lucky Gloves has been like a little bit of a divisive augment so far this weekend. Probably maybe holds up a little bit better in a game like this, where if you can get a few more TGs online. Colourful has the extra sparring gloves on bench to build a second one. It's just going to get slapped around like most people are by Kade's board right now. Kade is still level 5, by the way, while everyone else in this prismatic lobby is pushing 6, 7. I wouldn't be surprised to see an 8 relatively soon. And Kade's just like, no, I don't need it. I've got the Curse Crown. I've got so much board strength already. Where does Colourful kind of take this board? You said, like, you mentioned, like, the Shiryu Siphon. Is that kind of the best angle from here, or is that going to be maybe too contested once we get into these later dragons and he just has to force his way in?
I have to imagine with the way that their board is progressing and the itemization that they've got as well, that it'll lean more heavily towards it. You know, we already see the Infinity Edge coming out there. You know, typically you'll end up either prioritizing an Olaf or something like a Rengar with that. And it also works really well on the two aforementioned dragons. As we see double Rengar entering shop here, we'll have to see whether this gets picked up. Might be a potential angle, but it's also a little bit difficult. You've got no pre-existing dark flights, so this is a bit of a consideration. Colourful may also just try to look to go to level 9, as their gold total is starting to get pretty high.
I think the lack of bows is kind of turning me off potentially looking for this Rengar pivot. Like, if there was like some bows to play around with, then you can consider it. I do think maybe the right play is just pushing that F key, going for those quicker levels. If there is a third prismatic offered up here, guys, you know, remains to be seen.
Fair enough. Fred is going to be coming up against Colourful here. Fred's massive damage being popped out from this Kai'Sa 1. Only a Kai'Sa 1 still at this stage of the game. And you see the amount of damage that it's ending up doing here is going to be plenty enough. Lagoon actually holding up still at this stage of the game, but I'd say that's more indicative of Colourful's board starting to really fall off. It's triple prismatic,
Dragon Soul!
Ducky. With Dragon Soul.
Look, Frosty, you hadn't gotten a single prismatic all weekend. How does it feel? Triple prismatic ended
like
up. He does reroll here. Radiant Relics, a potential option here. Binary airdrop, not too bad as well, although with the Lucky Gloves, it kind of the value falls off there. Does still up for it, though.
I mean, it's got to feel like it's probably your best option. Big roll down coming as we see a lot of units being taken off of the bench here. We're going to move over to Tamora, who's got high-end shopping, has got that guild, I believe it's Soul in as well, and has got Stand Together 3, Handshakage 3. This is going to be an insanely stacked board. We've already seen the power of late-game guild boards, Ducky, and I mean, this is a guild Zaya.
This is a guild sire. I'm very hopeful someone's picked up the golden egg, by the way. We will get confirmation on that from the observers as soon as we can. Triple prismatic. This guild sire is something so strong that we've been talking about all weekend, and Tamura is just so dominantly online by the fact that they've got this 6 Rage Ring active already. This is the thing a lot of people have struggled with the Shyvana board, with this Zaya board this weekend, is getting the vertical online and getting that 6 Rage Ring in, because the boost that it gives to this Zaya is absolutely immense.
Oof.
Probably doesn't even need the Gensu at this point. Like, you know, the attack speed is just so fast, right?
Well, you don't need it, but it certainly does. That's a Shyvana too at stage 4. Shyvana 2 at stage 4 here. Tamura is in such a good position. You know, being bottom of the lobby right now doesn't even matter because the power spike is so insane. We saw Percy Jackson coming back from 2 health to win out the entire lobby with this board. I can't state just how strong it is, but look, Kade has taken Mirage Shoal as well, is at 7 Mirage, and is still incredibly strong with that Cursed Crown.
We see the level up taken here from Freed. That was one of the augments that got Percy Jackson the win earlier today in that double Prismatic lobby. How will hold up Prismatic? We don't know. I do like to point out here with Kade, 1 Yasuo away from that 8 Electric Overload Mirage. And we've been speaking about the fact that, you know, Electric Overloads may be slightly weaker than the other Mirages, but when you have a start like this in Kade's position, if you can get that Yasuo in, it's going to be massive. I am a little bit worried about Kade's position for one reason, though. He's got that Cursed Crown. If he starts taking losses here at the end of Stage 4 and the start of Stage 5, he's going to bleed out infinite amounts of HP before he can get that Yasuo in.
You're not wrong, and Ducky, it's a triple Prismatic lobby, which means that everyone's boards are going to be insanely strong. So if Kade doesn't manage to keep the pace going, then guess what? He's going to die quickly. Now, just a reminder, chat, we actually have 10 winners because it's a triple Prismatic lobby here. It truly was the Golden Egg giveaway, so let's get exclamation mark egg in the chat once more, everyone. Come on, let's give it one more go around.
Yes, guys, exclamation mark egg in chat for the 10 potential chances at getting some wonderful little legend. But yes, let's go on to the game because there's a lot to talk about here. We've been talking about all these insane boards, by the way, Frosty. Let's have a look at the right-hand side here on this HP that we're looking at here. Kade at 100, yes. 60 to 25 for the rest of the lobby. Like, the HP is just shredding off in these triple Prismatic lobbies. I have a feeling that it's just like a lot of people taking a lot of big losses, and that's why we're seeing the HP shred throughout this mid-game.
No surprise, Kade probably being the big reason. You know, Cursed Crown is very much so a high tempo augment. You end up dealing a ton of damage. 2 extra units in means more damage being dealt to the rest of the lobby there. But at the same vein, that ends up getting dealt back to you double. So while this may be the case here, it's only going to be a matter of time before that red ring of doom ends up ending up with a massive X next to it, and you'll see the health totals deplete rapidly from that point.
I do want to point out here on Obo's board, Band of Thieves 2 and Lucky Gloves. So a very, very nice combo. It's a combo also held by Percy Jackson in this lobby. They got the double TG and then into the Lucky Gloves as well. There's so many big items being put around, optimal items now with these Lucky Gloves, and the loot tables have been adjusted to really make them optimal. We look at Colorful here though, fighting for their life right now. 13 HP, another one who took the Lucky Gloves, but only has 1 glove to make the most out of it.
I really do be like that sometimes, you know. I mean, again, trying to get these big contests on the lobby. Wow, look at the board that is being presented by Huey Dewey Louie here. You know, we kind of commented that they were the Dark Flight player. They've ended up, you know, swapping it out for Olaf this game. That's already a Diana 3 at this stage of the game, you know. And Colorful is 1 loss away. We've seen Jade boards, you know, the Shiryu boards with Siphon be so successful. And it's ending up struggling in these lobbies. Both of the players, Obo and Colorful, in 7th and 8th.
He doesn't really have much choice here as well. He's only got 10 gold to roll down with. And I think he, does take the BT. Yeah. You think he just slams it onto this Siphon to guarantee the optimal items in these combats instead of leaving up to binary airdrop block?
It feels bad, but I think that that's probably the best way to go about things right now, because where else does it go? You know, you can either choose to put it onto, say, the Jace here, but I mean, just popping off these items probably makes a little bit of sense. You know, getting the War Mugs on there. So, yeah, I agree with this, but your glove just has no home.
We were speaking about it earlier. Kade has lost that red ring of fire around them. Did take their first loss. Only a 14 HP loss with that Cursed Crown. So not the biggest of losses that they could have taken. We'll have to see, you know, what their board is going to be shaping up towards. But for Colorful, in rank 1, heading this game, it has to be stated, by the way, Colourful needs, to be put up a good performances. Doesn't have as much championship points, maybe make those LCQ slots or that, that second Worlds Direct invite, right? Colourful needs to go 1-2 this weekend to have a very good chance of making Worlds, or at least having a chance at making Worlds. If they fall flat here, it's going to be an uphill battle for Game 6.
There's this electric board stuck in their way, and it seems like the boards are just too shocking for Colourful to end up dealing with. Look at the damage being pumped out. The only good news is that there's no anti-healing. The Xiaoyu trying its best to punch its way through everything, but the shields are too much. Colourful, our person in first place, is going to go 8th at the start of game number 5.
I think maybe got a bit dizzy with the augment selections there. I don't like the mesh. I mentioned it at 4-2 when they picked it up. I didn't like the mesh of the lucky gloves plus the binary airdrop because you're losing a bit of the gloves value. Alas, that's a learning that you have to take into the next game, and hopefully Colourful isn't too tilted off that one more game to go, as we're on board with Huey, Dewey, Louie, who has hit the Diana 3, has the Warrior emblem on the Diana as well for that extra magic damage. The Olaf, 7 out of 9 Olafs, 2 away from hitting that massive power spike. And we were talking about it. If there is a triple prismatic lobby, can the Olaf hold up? It's holding up so far.
It's holding up, and it's holding up surprisingly well. I honestly didn't expect it to be doing as well as it currently is. Obu is in that dire position right about now. Does manage to get this effort onto none of the critical targets, and that's devastating. Coming up against Percy Jackson, there are 3 Xiaoyu Siphon players. Big chomp going down onto the Jade statue. It seems like this combat is looking neck and neck for the time being. Both the Xiaoyus punching away, no really critical bites taking place. Both Sorakas are going down, and it seems like, this fight is just neck and neck. That a problem is that there's only one Xiaoyu left, and that is Obu out in 7th.
And that, not only were they both playing Xiaoyu, they both had the same kind of augment setups, like they had the Banner Thieves Lucky Gloves. I think, it was just a little bit stronger on Percy Jackson's side with the board that they were able to build into there. And Ober, that is a huge loss for them. They really needed a good performance there to really make that work. And really set themselves up for a really good Game 6, because they were struggling on the leaderboard. I think heading into that game, they were in rank 6, or around rank 5, rank 6. And at 7th there really shoves them down the leaderboard with how close this is right now. We're back on with Huey again. One more Olaf. That is the big win con here for Huey. And I still am a little bit shocked by how well this Olaf is holding up in this lobby.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got time, Huey is at 49 health on a 5-win streak right now. Aurora, we haven't really been spectating, has got that Nomsy in right about now, and look at the damage that it's pumping out. But the Diana is no slouch either. Is just dealing tons of damage, and is going to cleave through this backline, doing its best Olaf impression from set 7. But Huey is on a 6-win streak going into stage 5 carousel.
No dragon carousels. I was hoping for one. There was the chance. We had a couple yesterday. I think we had 2 in one game even. But a few spatulas on offer here. Fred, with that Lagoon board, actually does pick up another mage spat, which is very strong for them. With a couple of other spats on offer here. We've got the Shimmer Scale emblem. We've got the Lagoon emblem. This is very... Actually, it's need to be pointed out. That's also on a Zoe. For Fred, that's very scary. It's going to pop off.
Oh, it is. It is going to pop off, and I mean, the board will also probably pop off for it. Getting in 7 mage there is a big spike. Going up from that 105 base to, I believe it's a 135 base, is definitely a massive upgrade. Huey takes a big level up here, manages to get the assassin in as well. So this Diana, which was already hitting like a truck, is only going to be getting stronger.
We can get a look at what Fred's board looks like now. 6 Lagoons, 6 Mage can be upgraded to 7 with the Mage cap on bench, maybe deciding where that goes down onto. Throws it onto the Zara for good measure, may as well, just make help what your board space has. And this Soam is going to start hitting like a truck. It does need to start targeting this Danger of Karde's though, because if the Danger comes through with a big Wind Blast, it could have taken out the Soam. Alas, that is all hypotheticals, and Karde, this is the Curse Crown effect. That was 34 HP taken.
It's not impossible for Karde in the next fight to go from 2nd to dead.
No. In fact, we had it happen at Challenger Series when someone took Curse Crown. I think it was TXE, and they went from like 80 HP to dead in 2 rounds. And that is just the nature of Curse Crown.
You know, and it looked promising as well. Kade was having such a strong early game, opening up with that electro charge, you know, having the extra damage from the electric overload. But it's so scary now coming into the later stage of these games. You know, I don't want to say that the Cursed Crown is always a bait, but sometimes it's a little bit scary trying to play it, especially when you can't keep up the tempo with the rest of the lobby, and the Olaf is just outranging all the electric damage. But there's the final boss, the Leona. It's only going to be a 2-unit loss, but Kade is now officially in the danger zone. Don't let the health totals fool you, because Kade, if he takes one more loss, is going to be out of this game.
Kade's really hoping that players like Percy Jackson, Aurora, Fred just get melted from here.
Yeah.
Like, hoping they take, like, you know, enough of a loss here that if even he takes a loss, like, he can eke out a 3rd or maybe even a 4th from that position. But from this position from here, it does actually look like Huey's lobby to lose, because he's still waiting on that Olaf 3, right? Like, he still hasn't even got all of his power on.
He's still at a 4-on-1, which is absolutely crazy. You know, this is just the power, I guess, of, you know, getting that knife's edge, that celestial blessing. And I mean, in Huey's spot is going to take a bit of a roll down, you know, but is in fact not going to choose to try to roll down anymore.
Doesn't need to. Yeah, the Nyla 2 upgrade is actually big enough here for this board that doesn't need to actually sacrifice Econ, can save for a couple more turns to take this Olaf and just roll as needed, right? If you can save your Econ, you can push 9 and really guarantee that first. So I do like this restraint shown by Huey, who's on path for back-to-back firsts, by the way. That would be huge for him, considering he was at 5 points heading into the halftime break.
Yeah, the chances are slim of them being able to make it, you know, trying to get that big old win. But, you know, there is still a chance. Nomsy getting absolutely deleted for Aurora, and that is the big carry that they were looking for in these fights. Absolutely decimated by the board of Soam from Fred there, and that is going to be a 6th place, unless Kade takes a massive loss here.
And looking for that red X on the side of Kade, up against Percy Jackson in this combat. The ellipsis keeps rotating, keeps fleeting away.
Oh, I'm waiting. Oh, I wait. Oh, Kade lost. Kade is out in 5th as well. An unfortunate. And there's the Olaf 3.
Brilliant. Brilliant from Huey.
Truly Huey's game to lose from this position. 61 gold, level 8, has pretty much a fully upgraded board. You don't get better than this, and is set. Has the level 9 unit already on bench.
Yeah, has the Zoe on bench.
Got the Zoe. This is just Huey's game to lose from here.
And the rest of the lobby in one-shot territory. We will go to a next combat here, unless we have one of those massively timed out combats and we have a double kill happening. Like, very, very slim chance with how these boards are set up. But we might be able to see that Zoe in action after this. Fred probably ruined the fact that they matched up into Huey here. Although this Olaf hasn't been able to get onto the Soam, it does not matter. The Diana with the shield does manage to take it out with those orbs, and that is Fred out in 4th. Percy Jackson and Tamura, we go have a look at their boards right now. On board with Tamura with that 6 Rage Wing that we spoke about earlier. The Xayah might be dead, but you still got this Jace, you've still got the Shyvana to play around, and that's why this board is so good. It's not just the Xayah threat, it's the double and triple threat. And up against Huey, who has now just pushed level 9, Tamura needs all the threats that he can get to try and carve through this Nyla, this Olaf, this Diana.
It's looking so dire, this multi-approach that you've got, especially from the side of Huey Dewey Louie, just ends up working out so well. All it takes is just the Diana to be on the correct side, and you see that Tamura is trying to clump up to try to prevent that. But don't forget, there's also the Olaf as well. I think the big player in this fight will end up being units like the Bard and the Shyvana, getting that important CC, just allowing the time for this Xayah to work. As we see the Diana is immediately going to work in the backline, but immediately gets melted down. Big Zoe cast coming through, but it looks to be like there is just not enough for Tamura. Huey Dewey Louie runs it back, first to first, going into the final game of the OCE TFT Regional Championships.
What